All right, hello everybody. We're going to create a little drum groove now, and I've already got an impact drum module set up, although I think I'm going to change my sounds right now. I've got the Detroit kit. Maybe look for something else that I can try. That's kind of cool. Let me try one more. Flamboyant. That's pretty cool. Let's go with that one. There's a couple things that we might want to change about this. First of all, the tempo. Maybe that's not the tempo that I want. So if I hit play and I feel like maybe it's a little bit too fast for me, then I can actually change the tempo. So I'm going to go right above the little tempo marking here. And right now it says 100, but I'm just going to go with a lower number. Let's go with 96. Hit OK, and then play it again. Yeah, so that feels a little bit better to me. So what I'm going to do now is record a little drum groove at tempo equals 96. And I'm going to layer this up. I could play all the parts at once, but you know, that's kind of tricky if you're not used to doing that on a keyboard or if you're not a drummer. So what I'm going to show you how to do is to basically layer in the parts of the drum groove one piece at a time. So let's start with just a hi-hat, and we're just going to subdivide the time. And I'm going to start recording at the beginning of the timeline, but I'm going to let a couple bars go by of just count off. And I do this to allow me to get ready, but also it allows me to later on, if I add acoustic instruments or a singer or a guitar player, whatever it might be, to have some space out in front for them to both hear the time, but also maybe if they play a little bit before the beat, we don't want to cut off the recording. So I always just like to have a couple measures of just count off on the timeline. So how do we record? Well, the impact instrument is already record enabled. That's the red light. And it's also got the monitor button lit up. So we can hear ourselves and it's armed to record. And then if we want to record, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I'm going to make a video about keyboard shortcuts. One of the ones that you can do is just to hit on a Macintosh Command space bar, and I believe on a PC it's Control space bar. And let's just see if it works. Good. So we can see it's recording, and now I've played some hi-hats. So you can see that it's recorded my hi-hats on that impact channel. And if I play it back, it sounds like this. And I'm pretty close to the click, but I'm a little bit ahead in some spots, a little bit behind. And if you want to see a more detailed view of your work, you can just double click here and it actually opens up an editor where you can see very precisely all the notes that you played. And you can tell like that first note is kind of late. This one's a little bit early. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quantize this performance. And it's pretty easy to do. Quantize just means that we're going to line stuff up with the grid. So if I click on Q, it opens up my quantize controls. And because this is selected right now, all I have to do is pick a quantize level, like a note value, and then hit apply right here. So for the most part, I was playing eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But at the end, listen right here. I played dop, 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 diggy, dee, dop, dop. So I added some 16th notes to that. So that means that if I'm going to quantize my performance, I have to make sure that I'm quantizing at the level of a 16th note. Otherwise, it's going to move those 16th notes to a larger note value that I don't want. So I'm going to choose 16ths for my quantize level, hit apply, and everything should sound closer now. So it's right on the money. I'm going to hit enter on the keyboard. That's going to take me back to the beginning of the timeline. And then I'm just going to record another part. So we go back to the beginning, we hit Command Spacebar or Control Spacebar, and this time I'm going to add the bass drum or the kick. Oh, 1, 2, ready, and. Cool. So now I've got some kicks in there, and I was able to play them a little bit more in time, so I don't think I need to quantize it yet. And I'm going to play it a third time, and I'm going to add some backbeats on the clap and the snare drum. Here we go. Oh, 1, 2, ready, and 1. Cool. So now I've got all the parts of the drum groove sequenced, and again with it highlighted, if I want to kind of clean things up and quantize them on the grid, I just make sure my quantize settings work for this and hit apply, and everything should move into place. Let's see how it sounds with everything quantized. 2, 3, and. Cool. So now we have 2 measures of drum groove that we built one piece at a time and quantized the parts so that they're lined up with the grid perfectly.